Hey everyone, it's Ultra Ego Fits here, and welcome to day 9. Unfortunately, on that day, I wasn't able to record much due to the two main places that I went to, being the Toei Animation Museum and later the Limited Time One Piece Museum. Didn't really allow for recording and nor taking pictures. Actually, no. The Toei Animation Museum did allow for some pictures, but regardless, I couldn't really do much, and basically this is why I'm doing this kind of later on post kind of voiceover talking about the pictures and stuff I did there, right? But anyhow, let's just get into the main stuff. So here's like a picture leading me to the museum, right? Then we got the main sign at the front entrance right there, very nice. Followed by, after you walk in, you get to see the main mascot of Toei, which is this like Puss in Boots or some type of thing. I think the reason why is because they made like an animated short about it back in the day, so they became their mascot. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, so this is like what you see after you walk in. Also, at the main gate, it was free the admission. I don't know how it is now, but it was free, so yeah, that was nice. Anyway, going more, I mainly took pictures outside of the place. So here's another picture that was out like in the outside of the museum. It was this cool Digimon figure because I didn't know a statue. I didn't know that they animated Digimon, but they did. So that was pretty cool. And then followed by there was some figures on display. Right, I took mainly One Piece figures, right, because you know One Piece fan and all. But yeah, we got a Kaido, we got Blackbeard. This is Saint Seiya from when I researched. Yep, this was a very popular anime. Back in the day, so yeah, they produced it too. And here we go, got some more cool figures. I'll zoom in on these in a bit in the next pictures. Right, we got the Sanji, look at that, looking fire as fire. And then we got Law over here. This is from Dressrosa on him on Green Bit. Look, he's got Caesar's heart, or does he? But anyway, yeah, pretty epic. Next we got close up of Kaido, and then another set of figures that they were displaying. We got the Luffy gear. Oh no, that's Luffy Gear 4 in Whole Cake, Onigashima, Ace, Yamato, Uta, Shanks, Luffy from Film Red. I forget her name. She's like Luffy's little sister in Wano. I kind of forget. So sorry about that. Anyway, this was a cool little Digimon vending machine that was outside there. So grabbed a pic of that. Followed by, oh yeah, there was an L statue. Fire. Really cool, really nice. Look at that, beautiful. Saint Seiya close-up statue as well. Oh, Sailor Moon. I didn't know I had this one, but yeah, they also Toei animated and produced Sailor Moon, so that's pretty cool. So yep. Oh, here is I think a Dragon Ball reference. Sorry, I haven't really watched Dragon Ball, but yeah, I mean, this kind of reminds me because I've seen something similar like this. But yeah, so that was nice. Then at the main entrance, right before you, or not the main entrance, sorry, before you walk into like the actual like exhibit, you know, they had like 3 figures up. First was Luffy, right, Goku, and then the Digimon. I don't know his name. I know it's a Digimon though. Going on to the next few. This is part of the section that I was able to actually take pictures inside of the museum. Right, but yeah, so here we got some more figures, some One Piece figures, pretty cool. I don't know where these figures are, but yeah, these are pretty cool, obviously. But some more, some Dragon Ball, right? And yeah, that's about it in terms of pictures of the Toei Animation Museum. Just because not only was it really small on the inside, I would say, thankfully it was free again, as I said before, but it was a little bit of a letdown, it didn't have too much going on. Besides some figure displays and like just a little bit of parts where you could take pictures. Like the real cool stuff were on the other side of the museum, like the left side of it, where like there was like all these like different like popular shows and IPs that Toei produced, and then it had like the signatures of all the voice actors that were a part of it, right? And obviously there I couldn't take pictures nor record, so I couldn't really get it, but there was like a really cool what's it called, like thing, like a poster of sorts, poster of all the One Piece, and it had all the characters with the signatures of each of their voice actors on them, so you know, pretty cool. But yeah, and I was thinking about trying to be, you know, a little bit of a rebel, go and like take it regardless, but in the end there was too much staff, so I couldn't really do that. But anyhow, onto the next part, which is the One Piece Museum, because the only, or specifically the One Piece only museum, which ran from, as you can see on this picture, from October 9th to January 13th of 2025. So, and since I went around the 12th, I basically was really lucky timing-wise, and I got to see it right before the last day when it were closing, you know? So, yep, here's the sign for it, that was there. Oh, and here's inside of it, which was like what I was waiting in line to get in, because I actually had to pay for this one. I don't remember how much it costed, but I don't really care, because it was worth every penny. You know, it was a fantastic experience, right? But yeah, this was on the inside. Beautiful little like wall art before you walk in, and yeah. Another thing that I got to do before I went to the main exhibition, that's where I couldn't really take pictures nor videos, was they gave us like stickers from, you see this sign right here, like, right? Oh, sorry, let me point it. Here you go, this sign, and we could just place it on whatever like boxes or some setup there, I guess, to like commemorate and remember which one you put there, yours specifically. So this was mine. But yeah, so, oh, another thing before I went in, I also got this, like, manga for free. I'll talk about this one in a moment, but this one for free basically is a black and white just version explaining about how Oda made, or the process of sketching out chapter 1000 of One Piece, on top of, like, how the manga is produced, in general, how manga is produced in Shueisha, right, and stuff like that. And then this right here is a thing you could buy at the shop, at the kind of the souvenir shop, right, where it was like a basically a colored version of this, right, with some gold like color onto it. It's very pretty. And here I'll show you an example of what I was talking about earlier. So for the black and white version, we got this nice sketch from chapter 1000 by Oda himself. Then we've got the gold version, which has certain panels and certain pages like in this gold, like, what's it called, gold filter. But yeah, this is essentially the scene where Luffy does Red Rock, like what as he enters into Onigashima and just punches Kaido, you know? So pretty sick. But yeah. And here's on the inside of that golden one, has this beautiful like cover art, or internal right before the first page art. Yeah, very nice. So here is another thing I also got, which was a poster / newspaper style thing that allows you to basically advertises or says that you went to the museum, right? Very nice, very cool. Another fun thing, now I'm going to talk about the exhibition, is that basically from that thing, from this newspaper that I showed you before, this was the other side of it, which is essentially how the inside of the actual, you know, main exhibit was like. So I'll start. So basically, I began right here, and all over this wall, looping all the way around it, all the way around to here, back over here, and over here, was the entirety of the One Piece manga from Romance Dawn up until the middle of Egghead. So basically, if you knew how to read Japanese, you could stay there and read the entirety of One Piece in one day, right? And so, very fun. It was quite a surreal experience. Like oh my god, there is so much One Piece. Like, I know chapter 1000 and more is like a lot, but seeing it like laid out in this kind of style shit like puts it into perspective. And also right here in the middle area, there was like a bunch of, or even not even middle area, and on the sides over here, there were like a bunch of like cool like display cases showing off stuff like, you know, different prototypes for the cover of the volume for chapter 1000 of One Piece, and like different variations of different One Piece openings were showed off in like CDs too. So that was pretty nice. And yeah, afterwards, after you could like see all of the One Piece, you can go over to this side, which is not shown on this picture, but to this like viewing area, like this theater almost, where you could see a video playing about how the manga is actually produced in general, right? Like, it's really crazy. It's super industrial, super automated. Like, these are like these big rollers with these like templates on them that essentially just press it all out and then create these just panels upon panels of of manga, and then later they just put it all together, and then we get the final product, right? It was cool because like you never really know how manga is made, right, until you actually see it, since you can assume, but it's completely different when you get to see it. And afterwards there was the gift shop or souvenir shop where I bought a bunch of cool stuff to commemorate the fact that I was there. So on to that. Alright, first we've got basically I got these like three like yellow envelopes with like where they took certain iconic panels from One Piece and just made them into like posters, and they also, from what I could tell, it felt like the material was similar to what is used on manga pages, but I wasn't too sure. But anyhow, so I'll get into that. So first, the first one I bought was the Luffy's iconic entrance and initial starts to the fight between him and Kaido. So here we go. Obviously that Red Rock, the uppercut right here, which is also, as you could, some of you probably already noticed that, but it's what the One Piece Museum used to market itself, right? Because it's that showing that off, Luffy doing the uppercut. And yeah, we got some more. Some more. Look at that. The power of the freaking what's it called? The power of flip-flops. Boom. The hockey flip-flops literally destroy anything. So cool. But yeah, here's some more, and there we go. That's that for that one. But something cool that I wanted to show you about this specific poster set is that if you flip them all around and put them together, you can get basically it creates the name of the museum, right? And it's cool because this is the only one that I got that does this, because the other two that I bought don't do that. So it's really cool that you can just put it together and it'll create this on the back, and then on the front you can put it together and it'll create the huge like gigantified panel of the beginning stages of the fight. Like instead of just separate pages, it's just one huge panel now. So pretty awesome. And afterwards we get into the other one. So here's the next set I bought, which had Gear 4 Snake Man from Whole Cake introduced, and this was the back for all of the ones except the first set I showed you. This was the back for all of them, which is still pretty cool, don't get me wrong, but yeah. Next we've got more Whole Cake Island with Brook going crazy. I love my G Brook, I love him. And then we got some Dressrosa. We got the Bounce Man getting introduced right here. Then followed by earlier on when Luffy's along with the other, gladiator competitors or participants, they decide to go beat up Doflamingo because they find out how much of a evil menace he is. And then after that, just kind of unrelated to the other two, but this is just essentially the panel right before the Straw Hats enter their new world, or right before before they get to Punk Hazard, right? So it's pretty dope, pretty cool. And then the final set has more pre-time skip goodies, pre-time skip epic moments. So first we got Marineford. Look at that, when Ace and Luffy get reunited again with the help of Mr. 3 right there. But then we got Whitebeard's entrance. Look at that. Aura farming, the OG Aura farmers, or one of the OG Aura farmers. So it's lovely. And then also we got a Laboon shot, which is actually from Thriller Bark, because these two are from Thriller Bark, the last two posters. So yep, pretty dope. And this next one is Nightmare Luffy facing off against Roy. So cool. Thriller Bark is definitely, people, it's a little bit underrated in my opinion, because yeah, this is sick. Nightmare Luffy, and also Brook is just amazing. I love Brook. My top 3, easily my top 3. But anyway, can't forget. Almost forgot. But yep, last one that I actually had for this set is the goodbye to the Going Merry. And that's that. And that's all of the posters and all the stuff that I got from the One Piece Museum, as well as I saw, right? So thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.